and welcome to Online Baking Academy. In today's video we're going to talk about baking equipment, and if you're not careful you can buy yourself into the poorhouse in baking equipment. There's so much baking equipment out there, and if you're not really a nerd, then there's no need for you to go out and buy thousands of dollars or pounds worth of baking equipment. Of course, there is some essential kitchen tools that you need in order to bake some nice bread and pastries at home. So I'm just quickly gonna run over some of the essential equipment that you will need. You will need measuring jugs, and preferably you want some that can measure in liters and pints or whatever you use. And yeah, this is really an essential tool. And then you will need some mixing bowls in different sizes to mix your ingredients. If you don't have a mixer, the mixture is not essential because everything you mix, you can mix it by hand. I also have some small bowls that I use to measure up some ingredients, or if I'm melting chocolate, it's good to have these that can go into the microwave. And the next thing is a proper kitchen scale. And the same with the jug. You want a scale that can measure in kilos and grams and pounds and ounces, or whatever you use in your country. And another essential tool is baking tins. If you are making like cakes, or if you're baking rye bread or toast bread or stuff like that, then you can get the tins that you need. For example, here's a huge sandwich tin with a lid that you can slide on there, and you'll get some perfectly square sandwich bread. And here I have like a tin that is for like focaccias, or yeah, you can even use it for brownies and stuff like that. And on top of that you can get like silicone molds. You can actually get these in silicone as well. This one I use it for dinner rolls and stuff like that, or burger buns. It's really nice. What else do we have? We have some different baking trays. I would say baking trays are essential. Can't really bake anything without a tray. And here I have a baguette tray. And here I have a baker's cush that you can use for proofing your baguettes or patas. And for my baking trays, I always use these silicone mats. You can just use normal baking paper if you want. And for putting steam into my oven, I use these small lava rocks. They're really cheap, and then I put them in a tray and put it in the oven, and then I pour the water on top of that, and it creates a lot of steam inside your oven, which helps you to get that oven spring when you are baking bread. And of course, if you are interested in baking sourdough bread, you will need some kind of plastic container to stretch and fold your doughs. But you can easily just use your mixing bowl to do the same thing and just cover it with some cling film. It works really, really fine as well. And sourdough bakers, they also use these nice bannetons to proof their bread, and it gives it a nice pattern on the bread. But if you don't want to invest in bannetons, they come in all kinds of sizes and shapes. You can do the same thing with your small mixing bowl. You just put a tea towel inside, dust it with flour, and proof your dough in there, and that will do the trick as well. And I would say if you are baking bread or rolls or baguettes or whatever you're baking, you need like a cooling rack for when you're taking out your bread of the oven. You put it on the cooling rack and leave your bread there to cool down, so it will not have become wet underneath and from condensation. And for bread baking, I use a cast iron skillet, unless I'm baking in a tin, because inside the cast iron skillet it creates a lot of steam and the bread comes out really, really nice. And then there's dough scrapers. They come in many different sizes, shapes and colors, and has a metal one that is really good for shaping your doughs and to scrape your table. The plastic ones are really good at dividing your doughs and scraping your mixing bowls. And then there's obviously you need a couple of kitchen knives to slice and cut. I have a pastry brush for brushing flour of my bread, or for egg wash when you are making enriched dough. I have a small sieve. This one is really just a plastic one. It's perfect for dusting flour on your bread or cocoa or whatever you are dusting. If you need to sift a lot of flour, you might want to get a larger one. I have a couple of spatulas for mixing stuff. If you're mixing some batters or whatever, pancakes, or have a couple of spoons. Not really anything fancy. I have a couple of small serrated knives, and serrated knives are really good for scoring your bread before they go into the oven. But as we all know, there's plenty of other tools out there. I have a wooden lamb here with a razor blade where you can change the blade. A little bit more expensive. I have a plastic one here where you can't change the blade. I don't recommend that. I also have this UFO lamb where you can change the blade as well. It's really, really nice. A little bit pricey, but it is what it is. One other thing about lambs, check out the video where I show you how you can make your own dough scoring lamb. I also have like a baking steel for if you don't have a cast iron skillet, then the baking steel or baking stone is the next best option, where you slide your bread onto the steel and then you add a little bit of steam to your oven, and that works perfectly. Yeah, and the lava stones, you can get it from Amazon. It's really, really cheap, and it really produces a lot of steam. A lot of people have asked me about this fellow. This is a Roscoe oven, and it's an oven that is hand built in Belgium, I believe, and it's a It's a stone oven with bricks inside, and it is built for domestic use, and it just plugs in a regular plug. This oven is 3 years old and it has never failed a single time. It is really nice, good to bake your sourdough bread, and you can also bake pastries in it. It comes with the trays that fits in there, so it's really nice. And to add steam to this oven, you can get some small steam pots to put inside your oven. But this system with the lava rocks or with the ice cubes, or just even spray a little bit of water inside, it works perfectly. So no need to spend extra on these lava rocks. And this oven goes all the way to 300 degrees and is perfect for pizzas. I love pizzas. Anyway, this is not a essential baking equipment. What is essential though is that you have an oven at home. Any domestic oven, you can bake pastries, you can bake enriched doughs, you can bake sourdough breads. It's all about finding your way to do it in your home oven, because all ovens are different. But this one is not essential, but it makes it really fun to bake. It's the same thing with a flour mill. A flour mill is not essential, but if you can mill your own flour for your pastries or your bread, that will definitely take your baking to the next level, and fresh flour is really good. Yeah, that was the video about baking equipment. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something. And as I said, you really just need a mixing bowl, a couple of small tools, and you're good to go. Some baking trays, some tins, and some knives and brushes and stuff like that. So it's really, most of it is equipment that you already have in your kitchen, and then you can add a little bit if you feel like it and if you can afford it. Because one thing is sure, you can keep on buying from now and forever, and yeah, it will just make you poorer, and not all of it is really essential. So I hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and see you next time.